The current HUD has a few issues, one of which is that the game has changed a lot in the past few years. Unfortunately, the HUD remained pretty much the same. We've also looked at the future operators and the ambitions of the team, and there's a real need for a reshuffle of information we're showing. You might not know this, but Siege's UI is based on Flash. And internally, we created a new tool called Phoenix. Basically, is faster, it's easier to work with, more future-proof. It's the perfect time for a rework of the HUD. And now, at a glance, you can get a quick impression of what your inventory is consisted of. You don't have to switch to your gadget, say, to see if you have a certain ammo type equipped. For example, Zofia or Capital. We've also streamlined the way we represent resources, for example, Cavera and Warden. It's a bar that depletes and refills over time. They're shown similarly in the HUD. We also separated cooldowns from resources. For example, Clash has both. She has a resource bar for her electricity, but also the cooldown in between the shots that she can fire. We removed all the text in favor of icons, so we're way more specific in the icons. So if you're deploying an ADS, now the icon will show an ADS being deployed. If you're picking up a frost mat, that's the icon you will see. Last but definitely not least is the compass. It's now central to the HUD. Now the compass, for whatever's in front of you, is divided into three parts. You have what's above you, what's on the same level as you are, and what's under you. We've also added a ton of new world markers into the compass. So before you only had the yellow pings, but now you have the marked positions, you have the objective markers, you also have the player death markers. We've also added a new module called the ping location reminder. It'll show the floor and the location of the ping so you can make better callouts. We've added a ton of new customization options. I suggest that you visit the new options menu. We've added a new tab for the HUD, and from there you can customize your HUD more than ever. And we're looking into ever adding more options, so eventually scaling and maybe move things around.
Player protection is our top priority, so we want to do it well. This is why we were taking our time with this feature. Our content creators are extremely important for the success of Rainbow, so we are in discussion with them to make sure that we are offering something that is tailored to their needs. However, we want to protect all players, so we will allow everyone to use an alter ego in the game that they can change in between matches so that they can have more privacy. Paired with a bunch of new settings that coming with them, we are hoping to alleviate the risk of being targeted negatively in game. At first, we will release the feature to a small pool of content creators. We will stress test the feature, make sure that there's no bugs, make sure there's no exploit, and once we're ready, we will release it to the rest of the population. We realized that there is also a broader need of security at the account level for our players. So we reached out to our colleagues in charge of account at Ubisoft, and we are in discussion with them to provide broader security settings for our players. We are extremely excited to let our players try the new privacy settings in the near future.
We're moving away from the static team colors. So from now on, in the accessibility tab, you can customize them, meaning that if you want to set your allies team to be red, and if you want to set your enemies team to be orange, you can do so now. We know that the color selection for now is not so great for our colorblind players, but we're willing to make this compromise for now, knowing that we're going to be adding a ton of new color options in the future. Gadgets in the world are eventually going to be showing the alliance. What that means is if we're throwing a C4, the light on the C4 will reflect if it's an enemy or an allied gadget. We're looking at the Claymore currently and also the barbed wire. Eventually, we're looking at adding more and more game objects that will reflect the colors that you chose in the accessibility options.